Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. I am joined by an amazing guest. Mr. David Hill is here. David, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me again, sir.
So, David, let me just tell the audience a little bit about you. You're the owner at Today's Climb. You're down there in Indian Harbor Beach, Florida, and the website is todaysclimb.com. Can you tell me a little bit about Today's Climb? And then I want to ask you about something real serious that happened last show, but I just want people to know who you are first, in case they don't know.
Yeah, I'm just a guy that went through, everyday struggles and actually really let it affect me. And I just want to give back by helping people through it. So I started Today's Climb. We can say it's the life coaching, but I like to say it's just mentoring and helping people through their everyday struggles, so they don't get in a dark, deep, isolated hole. And, just sometimes you got to wrap your arm around people and help them. And, people can reach me, todaysclimb.com, or call me up 321-591-1818. And we can have a nice talk, see where it goes from there.
So what happened was last week, you're such a great guy. Like you said, you help people out. This is what you do, as a profession, and you help out someone who lives with you. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I live with my grandfather, and, I actually take care of him. And right when we were starting to get into the show, I myself had to cut it short because I had to call the EMTs to, my grandfather's on oxygen, heavy COPD, and just other health issues, and he was struggling to get some air. So that's one of those, we can't control things in our lives. Things pop up. And if I wasn't in a right frame of mind, could I be taking care of my grandfather if I was still drinking and abusing other things? And I actually blame myself a little bit, because could I have helped him a little better 5 years ago if I was in a better state of mind,
Wow. And it was, it's just like a glimpse into who you are, because here you are, you're getting ready to come on the air with me so you can help other people, right? And then all of a sudden, someone that you're helping, you have to call 911. You got to, and you did it so calmly. And it was just, somebody who has thrown that life preserver out to someone before. I could totally see it. And I was thinking about, how it went. So tell me how it did go. And is he back home with you now, or?
No, actually we had to call the EMTs on him again yesterday. He decided not to go that day. We got his oxygen levels fine. We consulted the cardiologist. He also gets in-home care. So three or 4 days out of the week, he gets home health nurses that come in. They also can assess him, vitals, changing dressings and everything. So we have a good support staff. Everyone works well together. And, we upped a little bit of medications per his doctors, and it just, he wasn't getting better. And we just had to make the call yesterday. So the EMT, paramedics, they came back out. And just in those times, I guess why I get calm is if I start panicking, he's going to freak out, is the way that I feel about it. And if that's my loved one, I just want him to be as calm as can be, because what's the inevitable on someone who's, and he's going to turn 89 on Monday. He might be spending his birthday in the hospital. That, why not just make him happy? Just be calm, because let's face it, what is the outcome in a year or two? So you just want someone to be happy. You want their quality of life to be as best as it can be. I don't mean to get dark.
No, you're not at all. This is life.
It's sad. It can almost bring me to tears. I love the man more than life itself. That's like that. I never had a father. I know we've touched in on it, and everything he's done for me. And so I guess that's why I was just calm in that moment. I don't know. I can't explain it. And don't know.
Wow, man. You can tell you really care about this man, and it says a lot about who you are. Is this kind of like what you told me before about that example of where you got to put your mask on on the airplane before you can help somebody else? I mean, you got to get yourself in a certain state of mind, because like you said, if you come in a mess, that's not going to make him feel good.
Right. That's exactly right. As much, that's just on an airplane, a situation like that, you got to get yourself calm first before you can assist that mother and the child. You want to be in the best shape you can. I hate to, so if you're calm and collected, you're going to be able to offer more to people. Now, I'm not saying in a shit scenario, bullets start flying if I'm not going to be wetting or crapping myself. I mean, I hate to say it, there's people out there. I really feel for people that have gone through that. I'm not throwing shade. So, I
understood.
I don't mean to cross that bridge. And
no, you're good.
Don't cancel me. I'm not,
no, you're good, man. You're all right. This is from the heart.
But there's a lot of serious things out there, and I don't know. Probably just play it by the situation. But what good does it do running around with a chicken with your head cut off?
Yeah. So, can you tell me what separates you from other? We like to say life coach, but you were saying mentors and support system. What makes you different than other people in your field?
Well, honestly, I really haven't met too much of them, so I don't really know. But I want to just say, for me, is I just think I can relate to the person.
Mm-hmm.
When you can relate to somebody that you're speaking with, and you kind of have that bond, like just in the matter of these episodes we've done, sir, I feel there's that rapport.
Yeah, no doubt.
We've already established that. And when you establish that with somebody, you can open up different channels, your comfort level. You feel you can talk about certain things without first talk getting personal of, I don't know. And then when somebody else is going through something dark, you just want them to feel better. I'm willing to do everything I can, because I know what that feels like. It's the shittiest situation. Part of my language. There's no other way to. It's. Oh man, you just feel like everything's caving in. Everything you do is wrong. You try so good not to do it, but you end up walking on eggshells, and you end up failing more because you try to be perfect, and everything just, I don't know. It's not anxiety, but you're just destined to fail because you're not succeeding at anything, and you fall back onto that because
looks like I have a little glitch here with David. Here we go. I got you back, David. You froze up on me for a sec. No big deal. I got you back.
Oh, sorry about that. So it's one of those, just having that good connection with somebody and staying focused with them. And the biggest part is listening to what that individual says, and not just trying to read out of a book or a manual. Well, this professor in 1862 said, this is the way on a 10-step, 12-step program. You got to roll with the times on these things, people. You got to, it works for some people. It didn't work for me.
What, the 12 steps, you mean?
Yeah. 12 steps, 10 steps, 8 steps.
Yeah,
a drinker, drug user, sex addict, they know they've got a problem, man.
Yeah.
Give them something to be positive about. Give them something to work towards, and it will fix itself.
Oh, so that's something big. That's a big thing right there. So you can work with people who maybe even tried the 12 step, didn't work for them. You know, why you might have probably a better chance of getting through to somebody who is like that, because that was your situation, wasn't it?
Yeah. I got, I, I actually walked out and got kicked out of an AA meeting.
Tell me that story. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I went in, right. It was over at like a church rec center, not knocking the church. I got my beliefs, but I was one of those wanted some help. We sit in there, we do the whole spiel, Dave Hill, I'm drinker, all this, that. With the guy over on the side, I got my refreshments. It was like in between a break, it was like the social time where you get to sit and mingle before they were picking back up. And I just asked the guy, I was like, so what's kind of your background? How did you come to being like the counselor, the mediator of all this? And he was like, well, I don't know. I just kind of fell into something I wanted to do, but I've never really drank in my life.
What?
And I was like, wait, what?
That doesn't make sense.
He goes, yeah, I just helped my sister out and my uncle. I go, but you never really went through it.
All right.
And I was like, dude, that kind of seems a little shady. And at that time I went in hungover. I was also high as a kite, did a little 8-ball before I went. I was not in a good place. I went off on the dude. I spouted off some things and it was, sir, you got to go.
This ain't the room for you, buddy.
Yeah. And then from then on, it was, then when I did fix myself, it was like, well, let me backtrack. What steps did I want? What do I wish I could have had available? And that's kind of how I approach, I guess you could say, my life coaching. So I want people to make goals. How can I help people feel good about themselves? Maybe, whether it be just spend 10 minutes a day cleaning your house so you don't feel overwhelmed on a Saturday. Maybe you want to just go out and just exercise twice a week.
You're a big proponent of getting people just to go do something, just even if it's a walk, to go out and do something.
Yeah, because, these people are used to just being in between 4 rooms. You're already at an office where you're in between 4 walls. Why do you want to do that at home? Go do something. Get some vitamin D, man, natural sunlight. You don't need to pop more pills. Get out, live, enjoy, ride a bike. And if you can do that once a week, now look, you're maintaining something. You set out to go do something, you accomplished it. And then when you look good, feel good, you're going to, positivity. Some of these people haven't felt that ever.
Yeah.
And then then it's just that chain effect,
Mm-hmm.
Now you're altering the mind. And then now we can work on that next step. And without diving into, Quit putting the needle in your arm. Quit popping the pills. Leave the drinking down. You don't need to attack that because you already know what their problem is.
Right.
You don't need to quit. It's like beating the dead horse. You don't need to keep addressing it.
That's keeping you probably in the problem where people would like to move on from the problem and do something to take those little victories that you're talking about. Because once you accomplish something, like you have been telling us, if you accomplish something, you'll probably accomplish something again tomorrow rather than do nothing.
Yeah, you get that adrenaline rush, as they call it. You get that feel-good high, that, wow, I've never had people. And then you get positive reinforcement. How many people live in, where they don't get told, hey, good job.
Right.
Keep up the good work, man. You're doing great. Look what you can do.
Yeah.
And then just hearing that when you're viewed as society as an addict in some way,
and you're in isolation too, right?
Yeah. It's nice being told that you're achieving something, and that positive reinforcement, you just tell people, keep it up, man. You did something. You did it.
Gotcha. Hey, David, you got a couple questions here. Let me go to Charlie in Texas. Charlie says, have you ever been to a life coach?
Have I? No.
Okay.
No, I have not, but I have been to some therapist.
Right. And you're trained in oh dear, you're trained in what you do here, and there are a lot of people that can sing your praises. I know that's for sure. Um, for people that don't know, can you kind of just give a? I mean, I know we talked about it once before. We both kind of did, but can you tell us what the final straw was? Because I want people to know when they think they keep hearing rock bottom. What does that mean to you? And is that a real thing? And is that when you need to get help? What are your thoughts on that term?
Kind of vague. I mean, someone could have, I mean, just that example I said of I'm trying to fix my life and I had to call the EMTs for my grandfather. You could almost just say, shit, I'm having a bad day. Is that rock bottom? Does somebody have a bad day? They get a flat tire leaving work. Oh man, my day just keeps getting worse. This is rock bottom. I mean, it's like a loose term.
Yeah.
What I think about it is when it physically starts affecting your health and well-being. So like for me, it was going in and finding out, not that I was just a fat POS, but when a cardiologist has to tell you, man, you got to go lose weight, this is where you're headed. And they don't sugarcoat these things, which kudos to the medical field. I don't know how I could do that, giving people, you've got this route or you've got this, to be able to tell someone that. And then I was in there for 3 days and you thought I would have changed it. Nope. I went to a binge drinker on a Friday and Saturday, and it took me from May, and I finally got my shit together in September. Part of my French, and that was when I tried losing weight with my primary care doctor. She tried adjusting my diet; it didn't work, and she sent me to this nurse practitioner, and he just looked at me and goes, "Do you even want to change?" Oh, I was like, "Why? What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, because if you're not, you're wasting my time."
Oh,
and it was and it was like the way that he did it was he started holding me accountable. So he just tweaked me on a few things, and he goes, "Come back in 2 weeks." He gave me a little bit of what to do. Damn, if I didn't lose five pounds. Okay, now you've got my attention. Then he goes, "Come back in a month." I lost 20 total pounds. So that's now 25 pounds just from seeing him. Then it was just, it fixed itself. So that point of going to see him was really, that was my low, because I wasn't fixing anything. I was tired. I was ashamed. My feet were swollen like elephant feet. Belly was hanging over my britches. I had what they call a dicky do.
What's that?
Your belly hangs over, you can't see your dick. I had friends that would come up and hand me a broom handle and go, "You need to hold your belly up."
Oh my God.
I mean, you know what they call the truffle shuffle, shake your belly fat. I mean, I was, but I don't know, that to me, that was the lowest of the low, not being in the hospital. It was knowing, am I wasting people's time by just going to these doctors? They can prescribe you all the medicines they want, but if you don't want to change, why set up the appointments? Why take the pills? Why do anything? But if you want to address it, you know what you need to do. So that was, to me, that's what rock bottom is. When your health is starting to affect and you start realizing the consequences that you've made. Now you're ready for that change.
Got you. Now, David, what are most people, how long do people usually do one-on-ones with you? Do they sign up for 1 session, 3 sessions? Do you do group? Tell me about how your coaching is set up, basically, is what I want to know.
Well, they can do a pay by session, but what I found to starting off to have people that get the most successes, they just do a 1 month. And in that 1 month, they get 4 1-hour sessions once a week. So we get 4 1-hour sessions. And then in that week, middle of the week, there's a 20-minute check-in, up to 20 minutes. It could be a quick 5-minute talk, and that's where we set up the next appointment. We just make sure you got any questions. Hey, you hitting your goals? What's the plan for the week? Just like follow-up questions, just to maintain. And then they get direct email access, direct email, call, text. We all struggle with things. You need to reach out. It's almost like the liaison. You need help with something, email me. I may not always answer my phone, but
I got you.
The only dumb question's the one not asked, is the way, that's how I live. I do ask stupid questions, but at least I know I asked it.
Yeah, understood. And we talked a little bit before about getting people into programs. Is that on the individual's choice? I know you might not recommend it, but would you try it? Would you tell people if they have maybe that they're on the fence about it? Would you say go try it, or are you adamant about no doing 12-step?
No, I do. I mean, 12 steps vague. I actually recently referred one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
The client was open to tell me, was also seeing a therapist and was also seeing me, which I was fine with, but I told her, that there's not a problem going back and seeing them. And it wasn't because we were coming to the end of the month. It wasn't end of the month, meaning my services. It wasn't. And I also advised her maybe going to seek out like an outreach program. I didn't specifically say what it was, but something in the community of what they could do, as in to maybe get more social interaction in that manner. So it is something that I do advise, because again, I am sitting here in Florida, and that is another one of my packages is I do offer virtual, and we do phone conversations. So anyone could be in the United States. And I just want people to get the right help that they need. And
Gotcha.
And if that's the direct way, because I gave her some tools to build on. And it wasn't that I was just looking out for myself. She wasn't saying anything crazy,
right.
All that. It was just, I thought it would be beneficial to get that expert opinion, as I am not an expert, if that makes sense. Like I can't prescribe. I can't.
I got you.
Like the therapist can do.
Yeah. David, I'm speaking with David Hill, the owner of Today's Climb. And Mr. Fiducic, should I end with this question? Or yeah? Okay. We got to end here because we got 1 minute left. In the last minute here, John from AC says, I was a great student and a great writer, and I want to write a book, but I just can't get it started. Can you help me?
Sure. First off, we got to come up with a title, and then we got to come up with material. So are we doing a biography? Are we, like what topics are we talking about?
So you started a bunch of questions to get this guy unstuck.
Yeah. And those questions, those are like goals. How do how do you want to approach it? Maybe he's trying to start off with the ending, but you gotta get the table of contents first. That's your guideline. And then you fill in the headings of your chapters of how you want to keep people tuned in. So these approach, I've never been a book writer, but that's how
you got the guy out of being stuck just by starting on something. It sounds like you just got to do something like you've been talking about.
Correct. So all these things, that's just how you can apply a goal-based theory. It doesn't have to be for a book writer or to do exercises. These little approaches, you start asking questions, they start feeding back. Now we're playing some music, man. Now
I see what you're saying now. That brought it to make it clear.
We're juking and jiving now. You know, I mean,
awesome. Hey, David Hill, I wish you the greatest holiday.
Easter's coming up. Same to you. Enjoy that, man.
Thank you, my man. And I hope that your grandfather's okay, and I can't wait to talk to you next. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'll see you later. We'll be right back,
Everyone
guys. Stay right there. David Hill, everybody.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.